I've been watching The New Day for years now, and what they're doing right now is next level storytelling. Their heel turn, it got me thinking it might be just as iconic as the Shield's breakup. Like, who saw this coming? For a group that's been all about positivity and pancakes for almost a decade, this shift feels so raw, so personal. Last week the writing was already on the wall. Kofi and Xavier tried to address the crowd, but man, they couldn't even get a word in. The boos were deafening. I can't remember the last time a heel turn got so much immediate hit. The New Day isn't just turning heel, they're owning it. They're not trying to justify their actions or play it cool, they're just trying to explain themselves. They're out here being unapologetic, but the fans don't even want to hear them out. And then this week took things to a whole new level. Kobe brought his mom all the way from Ghana, and I thought, alright, maybe this is where they show the softer side and give us a moment of redemption. After everything, after flying it out and calling out of everyone, Kofi's mom walked out on him. She didn't even hug him. That's cold. What I love about this is how real it feels for me. We've seen plenty of heel turns in wrestling, but this one, it's not about cheap hits or attacking the fans' favorites. This is about betrayal, about a group that built its legacy on brotherhood and positivity. Now it's tearing itself apart. And let's not forget the elephant in the room. Biggie's absence is like this looming shadow over everything. He's not in the ring, but his presence is felt every move the New Day makes now. You know the crowd is just waiting for the moment when he shows up and does something with Kofi and Xavier. When it does, it's going to be epic. The story has the potential to redefine all three of their characters. And think about this, the New Day has always been about fun and connection, but now they're alienating everyone. First the fans, now Kofi's own mom, now the superstars. That's the next level heel work. That's not just about being villains, it's about breaking the hearts of people who used to love them the most. This is the kind of story that reminds you why you love wrestling. It's emotional, it's got layers. I don't know where they're gonna go with this, but I can't wait to see what's next. You know, I've been thinking about the Wyatt 6, and I gotta be honest, I still don't mess with it. And before anyone comes at me, let me be clear. I respect Bray Wyatt. The man was a genius, a visionary. His passing hit the wrestling world hard because it gave us something nobody else could. But here's the thing, when the Wyatt 6 debuted as a tribute to him, I, like everyone else, thought this was cool. Until it wasn't. Now, don't get me wrong, when they revealed Uncle Howdy as Bo Dallas and brought in names like Eric Rowan, Dexter Loomis, Joe Gacy, and Nikki Cross, I saw the potential. These are solid performers, and it's cool when they're keeping Bray's vision alive. But the execution, that's where it kind of falls apart for me. The whole supernatural, horror-inspired vibe worked for Bray Wyatt because he was the character. He lived it. The Wyatt family, iconic. The Fiend, hit or miss, but at least it felt like it. The Wyatt 6 group feels like they're trying to recreate his magic, and instead of being innovative, it's just off. And let's talk about storytelling. WWE leans so hard into the cryptic artist stuff again, but it's just not connecting. It's like they're expecting us to be emotionally invested without giving us anything to latch on. Bray had the charisma, the way of pulling you in. Without him, the whole thing feels like a shadow of what it could have been. I've seen fans online divided by this too. Some people love the homage, like they're all in on the mask, the callbacks, the Friday Funhouse characters. But others, they're frustrated like me. I don't get it. Wrestling works best when it's raw and relatable. Even the craziest gimmicks need a sense of purpose. Right now, the Wyatt 6 feels like it's missing that anchor. At the end of the day, I want this to work, I really do. Bray Wyatt's legacy deserves to be honored in a way that feels meaningful, not just spooky for the sake of being spooky. But for now, I'm just not sold. You know, I've always been one of the very few people who don't glaze over CM Punk. I respect the guy, but I'm not one to put him on a pedestal that much. That's it. Even I can see that in his build-up with Seth Rollins, Punk's got the crowd eating out of his hands. Rollins is putting in the work he always does, but the fans? They're firmly in Punk's corner. I mean, just look at the recent brawl on Raw. The arena erupted when Punk's music hit, and throughout the chaos, the crowd was chanting his name, but the energy was undeniably skewed towards Punk. And it's not just the live audiences. Online discussions are buzzing with Punk's return, and his feud with Rollins. Social media platforms are flooded with support for Punk. They're even calling for the Punk versus Roman thing more than the Rollins thing. Even wrestling forums are filled with debates, but the majority sentiment leans favorably towards Punk. Rollins, for all his talent and charisma, seems to be playing second fiddle in the eyes of the fans. It's a tough spot for him. He's a workhorse, the constant, but Punk's return has a novelty and nostalgia factor that's hard to compete with. Even if Rollins secures a win in the upcoming match on Netflix, I have a feeling the crowd will still be chanting Punk's name. It's a testament to Punk's enduring appeal and the deep connection he has with the audience. It's going to be interesting to see how WWE navigates this dynamic. Will they lean into the crowd's reaction and perhaps turn Rollins heel? Or will they find a way to balance the scales and give Rollins the spotlight it deserves? This feud is shaping up to be one of the most compelling storylines in recent memory. I don't think JD McDonough gets nearly enough credit for this brought to the Judgment Day. When people talk about the group, it's always Finn, Rhea, Dom, and Damien. But JD, he's been quietly cooking and playing such an important role in their rise to dominance. JD didn't just waltz into the faction and instantly get a seat at the table. He had to earn it, and you could see the story play out week by week. Remember when Damian Priest didn't fully trust him? JD had to prove himself, whether it was taking hits for a group, helping them win matches, and scheming behind the scenes. It's like JD is a glue holding things together in ways people don't notice. Take Survivor Series, for example. JD might not have been the one pinning people or cutting the promo, but was crucial in their win. He's like the sneaky player in the background, making all the plays that set the group up for success. And let's talk about his in-ring work. JD McDonough is one of the most technically sound wrestlers in WWE today. His matches, always crisp, always intense, but because he's not the loudest personality in the room, people tend to overlook just how good he is. That dynamic works perfectly for the Judgment Day. Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley are the faces of the group. Dom gets all the heat, and Damien is a star power, but JD, he's a chess piece moving quietly on the board, setting traps and making sure the group stays on top. Even his loyalty to Finn Balor deserves a shout out. JD's relationship with Finn isn't just some random pairing. It's layered. We've got history, mentorship, and now his partnership within the Judgment Day. Bond adds so much depth to the group's story. Honestly, without JD, the Judgment Day wouldn't be as cohesive as they are now. They might not get the chance or the spotlight, but he's the unsung hero every great faction needs. What do you think? Is JD the underrated MVP of the Judgment Day, or am I just seeing things? Drew McIntyre is really leaning into the path of grief and victim mode right now, and honestly, it fits his character perfectly. From being the chosen one, to feeling that the company has moved on without him, Drew's journey has been one of highs and lows, but the way he's reacting to it right now is what's making him such a compelling character. On Raw, Drew came out and cut a promo that felt so real. He talked about the pain of not getting the spotlight he felt he deserved. He mentioned how he had to take time off to mourn the loss of a family member, and that kind of vulnerability adds a layer and depth to him. This isn't just about Drew being angry, that is not in the title picture. This is about the frustration of feeling like he's constantly overlooked, even after everything is done for the company. The thing is, Drew's always been that guy who worked hard, came back, and put on great matches, but the payoff hasn't been there. We saw it with his WWE Championship run in 2020, when he was on top, but the world was in chaos, and it felt like the moment was almost taken away from him. And now he's been stuck with people returning to the company, and his frustration is starting to show. What's interesting now is how he's isolating himself. On Raw, we saw him just watch the chaos unfold at the Bloodline, not getting involved, but not stopping them either. That speaks volumes about Drew's mentality. Drew tends to think about what's in it for him, and that's what makes his character currently so exciting. It's the perfect evolution for a guy who was betrayed, and instead of fighting back, he's going full-on selfish, and is tired of waiting for his turn. His part of grief and victim mode isn't just about feeling sorry for himself. It's about a man who's fed up about being the good guy, doing the right thing, and still not getting the respect he deserves. If Drew keeps down this path, it could lead to some seriously explosive moments in the coming months. He's not just on the quest to reclaim his soft spot in the company. He's on the quest to make everyone feel the pain he's been carrying for so long. This new, darker version of Drew could be a lot of things. A heel, a lone wolf, someone willing to tear down everything in his way just to prove a point. I'm really enjoying this journey though, because it feels authentic. Drew's not just a guy playing a role. He's a guy who feels like his time has come and gone, and now he's angry. Where this goes next is anyone's guess, but I'm invested in how this story unfolds.